Don't believe in the naysayers because they don't understand your vision. Listen to constructive criticism and don't let jealous people get to you.
Temika Walker is the founder of BlacBeutyNo9 LLC, a Brooklyn-based, Black-owned, plant-based skincare company, and she's the creator of B4 UR SKN. Inspired by her Guyanese roots and her personal journey with acne and dry skin, Temika developed her signature mahogany hair and body butter using unrefined fruit butters and cold-pressed oils to naturally heal and restore the skin. Now she's an award-winning founder, and she's building a brand rooted in clean beauty, culture, and real results, while telling the story of her people, her heritage, and the traditions behind every ingredient. In this episode, we explore resilience, reinvention, and turning vision into reality, from starting over in New York to breaking into the beauty industry, and how that journey is now being transformed into skincare, education, and cultural storytelling that uplifts community.
Don't let nobody tell you no. Just write it down and present it until it works.
Temika, welcome to the show. So excited to have you here this evening.
Hi, Nicole. I'm excited to be here.
So let's start at the beginning. What first sparked your journey into skincare and ultimately led to creating B4 UR SKN?
Oh, the journey. Let's see, how far back can I go? Everything comes full circle when it comes to the universe. I'm on my spiritual journey right now. Based on, childhood, dealing with bad skin, acne, we always used to use Palmer's cocoa butter and Vaseline. My mom put it all on our face and mix it together. And as I got older, it just got to a point where, you get your teenage acne and stuff like that. And then had to go to a dermatologist to get my Tretinoin cream or my Retin A cream. And then that expired because, they say your skin get adjusted to medication. Then you have to stop it and start over again. And then when I got into modeling, that was 2008, because I came to New York in 2006. And I'm a DV survivor, by the way. So I came here to start over a new life. And I always wanted to be a model too. Like me just growing up, watching Solid Gold dancers, and you got like MTV and BET came out. So I was like going to be like, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be a dancer. And I just be like doing Solid Gold dance and stuff. So yeah. So I was very out there. I was a kid that couldn't sit down. But like I say, for skincare, like I say, childhood, teenage acne, and then adult. When I was 21, I was still married. And my uncle is actually in the beauty industry. So just a quick story of that. He owns a couple of hair schools in Florida at the time. And he was trying to get me on board then. But at the time, I was with my now ex-husband, but we was electricians and we was making a lot of money. Like I'm 21 years old and I'm making like $30 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, back in the day, that was good money. So I was just like, now's the time. I'm here to support my husband. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So once I came to New York in 2006 to pursue my dream is to modeling. I know in the modeling field, your skin has to be flawless. So just being a plant-based eater, I went to being a vegan. That's when my skin was real flawless. Just still using the basic Palmer's cocoa butter. In 2012, I was doing Carnival Mass Camp for Strange, which is with Sesame Flyers. The last one was Fire and Ice. That was 2012. And I was using a cocoa butter lotion and I'm just putting it on my skin. And I'm just like, but it ain't moisturizing my skin. So after that happened, then a Guyanese friend that came into play, I think she's from London. And then my grandmother is from Guyana as well. She's from Georgetown. And they was always talking about this oil called crab oil. So they use it as a natural insect repellent. So anytime they go out to do carnival and stuff, they put it on their skin. Back in the native land, they use it to, before they go into the Amazon forest, they use it to harvest fruits to repel the mosquitoes. So when my grandmother and my friend introduced to me, it was like in a soda bottle, like, regular Coca-Cola 2-liter soda bottle. But it had like a real earthy smell. And I was like, whoa, but it's good on the skin. So after that, then I did my last carnival, 2012. Then I got accepted at FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. In 2013, I got accepted at FIT with the International Trade and Marketing program, which is a very vigorous program. It's a 5-semester program.
Mm-hmm.
and I minor in Asian studies and African studies. And then I traveled abroad to Shanghai, China for 4 months to study product development. So even though I was from a fashion school, but our degree is like the Bible of the fashion industry. So we have to learn everything. So my first degree was from Nassau Community College, which was the fashion buying merchandising. And I graduated in 2011. And then that's when I got accepted at FIT in 2013. So then that helped me being on the fashion buying part to understand the international trading marketing. So we had to learn like hedgehogs, how to do product development is more business end, micro, macros. And I had to learn Mandarin. And I was like, I can't even speak proper English. What you mean learning Mandarin? Like my Southern self, which I'm a native Floridian, by the way. But my mother is Guyanese, my father is American. And so, yeah, so I did that course. We spent 4 months in China, which was the best thing I did. And I'm glad I did it because my professor, the chairman of the International Trade and Marketing Department, pushed me to go. She's like, you need to find you a babysitter. She's like, we got a grant to get you there. And I was like, but she's like, you need to figure it out. So she's like, you're not like these young students here. You grown, figure it out. So I figured it out. And I'm glad I went. I did learn a lot. Just learning product development in China from going to the markets, cheapy loo, how to negotiate, all that came into play with the product line. Like I say, everything I believe is divine intervention. Like, again, my uncle was trying to get me into beauty school to help him run his 3 schools. And I'm like, no, making money, you know. And then I'm into fashion. I went to modeling because it didn't work with my husband. You know, it's like the universe was pushing to me what I wanted to do. Just like it kept putting me back on the right path. So then after I graduated FIT in 2015, then I'm gonna find a job for 2 years. And that sucks when you graduated with honors, with cum laude. Like I was trying to go for magna, but the Chinese class messed me up. That messed up my GPA. I was really upset. So I had to argue to get my GPA back up because I was like, this ain't fair. So, but yeah, so once I graduated, then the FIT, they have like the job fairs like either every quarter, I guess when the students graduate, either spring or fall. And I was going around to like the different tables and stuff because in my head, I was going to be a buyer. Nobody can tell me anything because I already saw I was going to be in this office looking over in the city and just picking clothing. Because, like I say, I used to be a stylist too. I did Fashion Week as a stylist for Bruton Milton. I did BK Fashion Weekend when they first came out back in the day. Even I used to model for Harlem Fashion Week just to see them now, how big they are now. And I was just like, wow, like I was there, I was on the ground there. So all that came into play with my degree at FIT. And then I did an interview with, I don't want to say the company name, but it was the cosmetic company. And at first I was like, I don't know what makeup like that. Like I'm just always clean faced. Even after me having a model or photo shoot, that same day I'm washing it off my face because I just didn't want my face to break out because of me dealing with acne. And they took my information, looking for jobs, Macy's, buyer. But back then, for ethnicity, like before the Crown Act came out, if you was to go to that type of corporate America jobs, they always wanted us to blow our hair out. And I was natural. So even with the modeling industry, I would braid my own natural hair down, put on a wig, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, we need you to blow your hair out." I'm like, "No, not this thick, luscious locks I got." And like, no, that's heat damage, you know. So that was the same thing in the fashion industry. Like, in order for you to be in corporate America, I didn't have a problem dressing in heels and a suit, but it was the hair that they had a problem with. And I'm like, it'd be hot. Like, who want to wear a wig all the time and stuff? So that kind of like went out the door. They wanted to push all minorities into production. Like, what's the whole purpose of us going to school to get this fancy degree, but you still want me to work like I'm in a manufacturer somewhere? And I wasn't going to do that, especially with my age and 2 kids. At the time, they was young. And then, like I said, did an interview with the cosmetic company. They didn't call. I called them, and then it was like, "Oh, we'll call you back." And then when they called me, did the interview, got 2 interviews. Then it was like, "Oh, you hired." Now, mind you, at the same time, Macy's had called me finally to do one of their fashion buying programs. So long story short, the cosmetic company called me back and I turned down the job with Macy's. And I kind of kicked myself in the butt for that because I really wanted
Really?
yes. Because when the cosmetic company called me back and told me that I was hired, a week or so later, they called me back and told me that they got my paperwork mixed up with somebody else. And then when I read all the Glassdoor reviews, I was just like, you know what, that's a sign from God. It ain't for me. It ain't for me. And then they called me back again. And I was like, are y'all sure? Because a month ago, y'all said y'all ain't want to have nothing to do with me. And they was like, no, we sorry. You know, it didn't work out with the other person. We still got the opening. Would you like to come and train? So I was like, all right, bet. I learned quickly in the 2 years that I was there, like the software system and everything. Working in cosmetic industry, it's pretty much like coding. So I built the whole component, like the lipstick. For instance, like Rihanna, when she first came out with the octagon lipstick case, the magnet, I worked on that.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
like
amazing. And you've shared so much of the backstory, just education wise, and bringing you up to the point to launch your product. When did you officially launch?
I didn't launch the actual brand Before Your Skin until
Mhm.
September 2021, but the ideal started me working at the cosmetic company. That was in 2018. That's when I filed my LLC under Black
Mm.
Beauty #9. But at that time, when I filed it, like the owner passed away during that time. So there was a lot of craziness going on, you know, with corporation they're trying to sell and whatever.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I learned a lot. And then when I was asking the young lady that was training me, I was like, so y'all don't test these products on people to make sure that they work, like scientific I didn't even know the word. It was scientific testing at the time. I just said testing. And she looked at me and she laughed. She was like, no. So I was like, so how y'all know y'all got this fancy? So once she told me that, I was like, all right, bet. I can create a skincare since I already know how to do the formulations. I know how to components. I know how to labels. I know the SQ codes. Like I know how to literally build a whole product just from working for that cosmetic company for 2 years. So once, like I said, got the paperwork done in 2018, I was trying to get another Guyanese girl to go into business with me. She was on the engineering side, civil engineer, very smart girl, very, very young Guyanese smart girl, beautiful girl, but she didn't understand my vision. So as in me now, where I was from 2018 to now I understand that you always can't tell someone your vision or your purpose because they don't understand it. You have to do it yourself. So she wound up working for another cosmetic company, moving her family to Florida. So after that happened, learning all that, then I got laid off in 2019. So when I got
Mhm.
laid off, the pandemic hit that February because you know the Super Bowl and stuff. They didn't want to say anything, but so once that hit, it was giving out unemployment. I got
Mhm.
double unemployment from the cosmetic company, my severance
Oh,
package, and my stimulus check. And I
oh.
said, so Temika, you better work on this skincare line. You
Mhm.
grown, you healing, God heard your prayers, and that's what I did. So I took the stimulus check money and I finished forming the LLC because I did like the basic paperwork just to get the EIN number. That's free. But to actually
Mhm.
formulate the Black Beauty #9, and then I came into I came into some money again, which was I think like a month or two after the pandemic. So once I had all
Mhm.
that, I was just sitting on that, and I was like, yeah, it's game changing time. And then that's when
Mhm.
I hired a lawyer. Her name is Claire Gibson. So she's the one that helped me with my she's an IP lawyer, so intellectual property. So she helped me trademark well, I don't know if you can see here, but it says TM right now, but actually I'm registered. So I have the actual R for their those are two B's, so that are foot backwards. So that actually stands for Black Beauty.
How would you describe your creative process when developing your products? Like, how did you determine what you were going to use, the portion size? What did that look like?
That was a lot of dreaming, a lot of prayer. Like I say, because the crab oil was so strong, and it was like, how am I gonna be able to
Mhm.
cover this up without using fragrance? Because again, I'm
Right,
like
you were saying, yeah. So,
ingredients. So I was watching like other skincare makers on Facebook and stuff. They had like these body butter groups. So somebody was saying, oh, kokum butter is a good stabilizer. Because when I first made the product, it was falling out of the glass container. Like I had my roommate, he was like my little guinea pig. And at the time, the product was white. It wasn't even yellow yet. And I would just
really?
fill glass jars, and as soon as I finish and refrigerate it and bring it back out, it'll melt already. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then that's when the group was like, oh, you need a stabilizer. And I'm like, what is a stabilizer? So, you know, they over here trying to help
Mhm.
me. And I say, but I don't want to use cocoa butter, shea butter, because those are the harder butters, cocoa butter. And then this one girl was like, kokum butter, which is KOKUM. So I looked it up and she's like, but it's expensive. And I looked at it and I was like, she sure is, but I'm gonna put my money into it and see if it really worked. And it actually did.
Mm-hmm.
So it stabilized my product to 90 degrees melting point. So that's when it
Oh.
started getting soft. But I tell people to put it in the refrigerator like 5 minutes and it solidify right back and it won't separate or anything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Learned about the separation of the body butters when you blend. That's another thing I learned. It expands. Because before I usually was stuffing everything in a 3 ounce container and it would be coming
Mm-hmm.
to the top, overflowing. I was like, I can't present it like that. The labeling that always comes from FIT with the design, product labeling.
Oh.
Um, One Guyanese guy pointed something out to me on my label that no one caught. So I try to create everything based on Guyana, South America, where that's where all the natural resources. Two of the items come from South America, which is the pequi fruit, which is from Venezuela, and
Mm-hmm.
the crab oil, which is from native Guyana. But if you look at the border around the label, that's the
Mm-hmm.
Guyanese flag.
Wow.
And
You know, I didn't even notice that.
yeah, and the Guyanese guy, he pointed that out at a pop-up. And I was like, you the only one after all these years, I'm already in business 2, 3 years plus. And he the only one that pointed it out. Of every Guyanese person that came by my table at a pop-up,
Mm-hmm.
he's the only one that caught it. And he was like, yeah, I see the two panthers on the back
Mm-hmm.
because that's their the native animal. And like I said, I just try to incorporate all the history, the gold, like everything that's known about Guyana, South America. I'm trying to put it into the product. So to let people know that's where it originated from.
Yeah, sounds like everything Guyana, all things Guyana is your inspiration and those
Because
natural resources. Oh,
they don't get the
fantastic.
proper recognition,
Mhm.
for the natural resources since we struck oil about 3 years ago. Like, it's another skincare company that's from Brazil, that's on the border of Guyana. They actually have the native Guyanese harvesting the fruit for them, but
Wow.
the credit, and I'm just like, that's not fair. So I already know when it's time for Before Your Skin to be put on the map properly. I already know it's going to
Mhm.
be a political uproar as to what I'm doing to put forefront as to who is really harvesting the fruit. So yeah, so I just want to be able to get to a point where I can actually give back to the community as well. That's like my ultimate goal.
Mhm. Yeah, you want to give back to the community. What role has community played in the vision, developing your brand and your
Um,
product?
Constructive criticism from the community, especially the
Mhm.
Guyanese, because like I say, before I reworked, it took me 6 months to nail the formulation down, like to get it so it won't separate, it won't melt. Like some points it was harder because I didn't know like if you cut half of the batter, if you mix, it'll shift. So chemicals do scientific and all that come into play. Sort of say science, whatever to say that all comes.
Mhm.
So when you have your H2O chart, and yes, that's real. Okay, so when people say, "Oh, I can make your body butter," I'm like, "No, you can't," because
Mhm.
it's not about a 1-to-1 ratio. Because you got to know what are the melting points, like what butters you can put together where a person won't have a reaction. Like a lot of my butters are non-comedogenic, so I mean you can use it on your face.
Mhm.
As in for the community, they kept telling me with the Guyanese, because they're so used to the crab oil, they can still smell the earthy smell in it. And I'm like, no, you can't. But then after me sit there, because I'm being headstrong. But like I say, you have to take constructive criticism in order to learn how to
Mhm.
better your product. So I went back home to the drawing board, got the soda bottle. I took because I had the original soda bottle my uncle brought me with the raw crab oil. What I put in my product is cold press because I can't put the raw on your skin because it would really exfoliate the skin. So
Really?
yes, and I would sit there and I would smell the bottle, and then I'll do the coffee technique where you said to use coffee to clear your nostrils, and then
Mhm.
I smell my body butter, and I was like, dang, they right. And then I had to go back to the drawing board and then redo my recipe with some of the oils to try to mask the
Mhm.
I guess the natural earthy smell of the crabwood oil, and to let people know crabwood oil is not the actual crab; it's from a mahogany tree. Um, so the cosmetic term is called andiroba oil, and that's Andiroba. Andiroba, yes, andiroba oil.
Indiroba.
Yes,
Indiroba oil. I've never heard of this oil. Wow.
yes, it's
I mean, there's so many oils.
very expensive, very on the high end. This is what all the high end cosmetic companies use the andiroba oil and the baki butter. and like they shampoos and conditioners, because it's a very fine luxury oil and it costs a lot of
Mhm.
money. So it's just all about educating people that go back to your natural resources to heal your skin.
What are some of the biggest lessons you learned while becoming the woman you are today?
Don't believe in the naysayers because they don't understand your vision. Listen to constructive criticism and don't let jealous people get to you. But this one girl, she was telling me that she didn't understand Before Your Skin, like the actual name brand. I was like, well, what do you mean? And she was like, well, what do you mean by Before Your Skin? I say, because we want to get your skin back to where it was before you start having these problems. And she's like, I still don't get it. Mind you, she's a brand strategist and she's promoting to be brand marketing and stuff like that. So I said to her, I said, do you know of a skincare line called Drunken Elephant? She was like, yeah.
Mm.
I said, what they got to do with skincare? It's just a catchy name, a catchy phrase. Like, you've even reading their mission statement. It don't say anything about an elephant or a drunken elephant. So it's like I had to bring her back. Like, I both know the same thing. It's just that I don't have time to sit in the market. That's why I wanted to pay you for your time. But if you can't even understand my vision and tell me I need to change my name after I paid for a trademark and it's in the
Mhm.
process, nah, sis. And I was out. I was like, I appreciate your input, but no, this is my baby. This is my brand. And it's
Mhm.
like other businesses, I had to tell her. Facebook, like all these other brands that are out there, they say the same thing. People didn't understand the vision until they had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until they got the investors, and they like $1 billion empires right now.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you discover about yourself during the challenges, whether it was pitching, competing, or even recovering from back surgery?
Ooh, like you say, the resilience. I'm a hustler. Like I learned from New York the hustle. Like I always worked since I was 14. Like McDonald's was my very first job, and I had to beg for that from my parents because I was a straight A student and I still had to keep my grades up and work 20 hours a week. But just coming to New York, when I say hustle or be hustle, that just gave me a whole like look on life. Like, because I used to be like, why are people outside selling stuff on the street? And then like
Mhm.
almost 20 years later, I'm out on the streets selling my body butter. So it's like having that resilience, though, that hustle. Like you just got to keep going, even though, like I say, with my surgery, it's just a minor setback. But once I'm clear, baby, it's gonna be
Mhm.
bigger than ever before. Like I'm planning so much now. Like I can't. It's like I want to say, but I'm also listening to like my meditation videos and stuff where they say, don't tell everybody your plans because
Mhm.
one person can literally come like create a downfall for you without you even knowing. So yeah.
When you think about your future, what kind of legacy do you want for Before Your Skin, for your brand, and for you personally? What type of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Well, I do want it to be a $1 billion empire in the skincare industry. Like I don't want to do just the skincare. It's like it's so many branches that I want to do. Like I even have another name that I want to trademark or be like the actual umbrella that will be over Before Your Skin. Like I just everything that I learned that was a challenge that I had to go through, like for printing my labels. My manufacturer was going up on wholesale prices, getting the designers, the containers. Like I want to dab into all of that to make it easier for my brand, so I can cut
Mhm.
and then maybe can bring my prices down because I'm just like, there's no reason why I gotta keep outsourcing everything where I can have enough money at the time to create empire to do all that, not just for Before Your Skin or the umbrella that's going to be above Before Your Skin, to have other skincare companies come in that need help to do their plan. I don't have a problem with it.
Mhm.
You'll be a competition. I mean, if you don't have a problem with it, but I don't mind helping other small businesses get into where they need to get and just have that
Mhm.
umbrella so they don't have to go through the headaches that I had to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice do you have for someone who wants to follow in your footsteps, who wants to be an innovator, use their creativity to have impact?
Just planning. Just like I say, speaking to people in the community, present your ideal. Like I say, if it's a product, present the product. If it's a service, present the service. Like get into, like I said, the Brooklyn Library is like one of the top places you can be at to get your business started. Like I say, they helped me Like I say, the first Power Up competition that was in 2020, they ripped my business plan apart and my feelings was hurt because I knew I know everything. So then the second year, I was like, bet, I'm gonna put my money into my product. And then that's when I gave it to one of the judges, and she actually purchased my product while my website was still being developed. And I had a call from my website designer, and she was like, Temika, she was like, somebody trying to place an order and I'm not even finished. And I'm like, who is it? And then that's when she was like, Arcoa. And I just screamed because I was just like, she took it, she's using it. And then eventually she had to pull herself out. But I was just the runner up for that particular. But I'm still grateful and gratitude for that. But it just helped me to learn how to pitch and to present myself. Well, yeah, that's what I would tell with someone that wants to start out and not to be scared. Just to go forward. Like, don't tell everybody your plans. That's gonna be like your biggest downfall. Like, just go do it. You know, unless you got, you know, a real close best friend that understands you or something like that. But even the silent congratulators will take you down. So like, no matter what it is, if it's an amazing idea, watch a lot of TED Talk and Shark Tank is a lot of inspiration too, for the creativity. I learned a lot from them because a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think that would make the shelves, they're like $1 million empires. So don't let nobody tell you no. Just write it down and present it until it works. And that's what I did.
I love it. I love it. It's been wonderful speaking with you, Temika. Thank you for sharing your journey, and I hope you'll come back and join us again. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you left feeling inspired and energized to follow your own path with purpose and creativity. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and keep living your purpose.